Hello everybody, it's Pineapple here, back with another video. So for this Monday, I thought we would talk about Droll and Lockbird, and more specifically where it belongs on the Forbidden and Limited list, based around just, how the meta develops, the style of decks that we see, etc., whether it's a necessary evil, or whether it's a dumb, stupid card that, should not exist. And my opinion, as of this moment, is unlike other floodgate hand traps like Maxi and Dimension Shifter, which should be banned, by the way. I 100% think they should be banned. Droll should be, with them in a perfect world. In a perfect world, I would say this card should 100% be banned. It is unfun. It doesn't contribute anything to the meta, and that's the ultimate truth. It doesn't belong in Unlimited. Just get it out of here. There are so many decks that this hits that do unfair things, but there are just as many decks that it hits that do pretty fair things. For example, we'll talk about that. There are a lot of decks that just do not get stopped by anything but Droll. Stuff like Monadium, Drytron, Dragon Link, Dark World, just all these gas decks that do absolutely everything. They hit. They play through hand traps like it's nobody's business. And the only way you can realistically stop them is with Droll and Lockbird. But these decks are independently have their own issues that would have to be resolved should we say remove Droll from the format, and that I don't think that that's a valid argument because there are decks, not including Cashtira, forgive me, but there are decks that do fair things that are just as impacted by this card. Think the new Chimera stuff. This deck gets absolutely torched by Droll. You go Quaddle effect, you add Mirror Sword Knight, Droll, your turn ends. Just brutal card against that deck. And just should not exist. Pearly is not a deck that I think is particularly, ban-worthy or unfair. It aims to make a noir, and while I think that Towers monsters are not inherently fun to the game, I don't think that it's a particularly unfair deck, but they just lose to Droll. Like, the game just ends. Droll is just so powerful against a deck like Pearly, and I don't like that a deck that is reasonably fair and has a high skill ceiling is absolutely torched by open Droll and Lockbird. But that said, again, there's like 4 or 5 decks in modern Yu-Gi-Oh right now that, while I'm not sure any of them are particularly competitive outside of Dragon Link, just only lose to this card. But there are a lot of mid-range control strategies, I think, that don't lose to this card, which I think are very cool. And so if you want to play a deck that does not lose to Droll and Lockbird, I feel like if you want to play Sword Soul, right, the only scenario I can reasonably think of that loses to Droll and Lockbird is when you have to Desires and you draw into an emergence and then you get Drolled. I guess that's pretty much it. Branded is able to play around this pretty well. Draw phase for Alubra at Branded Fusion pretty much insulates your entire combo, and the fact that you're going to be placing stuff with Lubellion means that, again, you're insulated from, of course, Droll, and Ariana and Lab are just going to, the only instance you're going to get Drolled is for Extravagance or Prosp into an Ariana and then get Drolled, but truth be told, you're going to be fine. No one's going to... You're not losing too much. You're losing a small amount of advantage. Unchained is a new deck that's seeing a lot of success recently. This deck plays really well around Droll, except if you have to start with Prison, pretty much, or Prosp, but reasonably speaking, it plays around Droll well enough. And Runic variants. Runic variants actually play around Droll really well, which is very funny because what happens is they go, draw phase, I'm going to add Fountain, and then they do everything else. So Runic strangely plays around Droll very well, which I find very funny. But more importantly, just Floodgate hand traps are not fun. They don't add a lot to the game. There's nothing that's more unenjoyable than me going, damn, did I draw a cross out? Did I draw a called by? Did I have like some sort of monster negation up by the time I got Drolled? There's just nothing more fun, and the fact that it impacts these fair decks like a Pearly or a Chimera is just so frustrating, in my opinion, especially when those decks fall into like the fair category. Drytron is an independently, frustrating combo deck that's very fragile. Same thing with Monadium. And Dragon Link is another deck that, while it's not, fragile, It is an exceptionally high skilled deck that you have to be very in tune with, so I'm kind of okay with it. Dark World can, not a big fan of this one, but the arguments for this are just sad. The truth is that Droll is an unfun card and shouldn't be in the format. As much as I think that independently stupid combo decks should not be in the format as well, that's an independently separate issue. And the truth is that Droll is not fun, and that should pretty much be our only argument. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little mini discussion. I certainly did. If you did, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.